video, we looked at the fact that the man who denies the reality of God and His truth has to substitute something. And we try to substitute something that looks similar to the real thing. Otherwise, it wouldn't be believable. Nobody would buy the lie. So, in our last video, we recognized that the U.S. Attorney had to substitute for the concept of parenting the concept of child rearing, which is, of course, different. But that caused Justice Alito to ask the U.S. Attorney another question. Suppose that there is a same-sex couple, and if marriage is only about mutual love and respect and shared responsibility, then why should we give benefits to them and not to two brothers or perhaps two sisters who are living together, have mutual love and respect, and are sharing responsibilities? The U.S. Attorney, when kind of stuck with not being able to explain why the law should treat two brothers who love each other and respect each other and share responsibility together should not be given the same legal benefits as a same-sex couple, as a heterosexual couple, retreated to the notion that, well, but marriage is something more fundamental than a relationship between a brother and a sister. Throughout the oral argument, the concept kept coming back to marriage is fundamental, marriage is fundamental. I think 4 different justices all talked about the fundamentalness of marriage. And this exchange from Justice Sotomayor was interesting in that regard. She says, the issue was starting from the proposition, is the right to marry fundamental? And then, is it compelling for a state to exclude a group of people? Richard Rorty, who was an atheist, said that, the reality is we often have to borrow in our atheism concepts that come from Christianity because we don't really have a basis for making the same claims the Christian would make. He actually called himself a freeloading atheist. And you see what is taking place here. We're talking about marriage as something fundamental when the question that really needs to be asked is, why? What makes it fundamental? The fact of the matter is, the whole concept of fundamental means that it goes to something that's basic, that's original. That's the meaning of the term. And throughout history, as the judges noted, the thing that made marriage fundamental was it was the one institution that allowed for procreation, that allowed for the state, the government, the people to continue. But obviously, that fundamental aspect, historical aspect, cannot apply to a same-sex couple. So they want to apply the concept of fundamentalness rooted in the ability to procreate, to continue the future of the state, to a relationship that is by definition sterile. Which leads to a very interesting thing that we'll talk about in our next video, which is Justice Sotomayor's question of why do we exclude same-sex couples?